প্রিয় দর্শক আসসালামু আলাইকুম। কোর ভিশন ফাউন্ডেশনের উদ্যোক্তা উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রম ভিশন ফর সাকসেসে স্বাগতম। দর্শক, সফলতা আমাদের সবার কাম্য। প্রতিটি ক্ষেত্রে আমরা সফলতার জন্য করছি প্রতিযোগিতা, কিন্তু সফলতার সংজ্ঞা কি, এর মাপকাঠি কি আমরা জানি? সম্পদ, নাম, ক্ষমতা পেলেই কি আমরা সফল? কোরআন ও সুন্নাহর আলোকে এসব প্রশ্নের উত্তর খুঁজতেই কোর ভিশন ফাউন্ডেশনের উদ্যোক্তা উন্নয়ন কার্যক্রম ভিশন ফর সাকসেস। আমাদের আজকের আলোচনা ইমোশনাল ওয়েলনেস। আসুন কোরআন ও সুন্নাহর আলোকে জেনে নেই। Our speaker today, Muhammad Hassan, young Islamic scholar. Brother, assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah.
So, why these topics are important? Emotional wellness. How you are going to define it?
Sure. So I think emotional wellness, this is a siha insaniya, siha nafsiya rather. This is very, very important. All of us, we deal with, as we're living life, as a Muslim, deal with all sorts of emotional challenges, pain, difficulties, from depression, anxiety, eating disorders, to addictions. And I think this is a big problem in our community, but this is something that we are very ashamed about. This is something that we are afraid to talk about. People are suffering. Matter of fact, they say 1 in 5 Muslims in this country, and Bangladeshis included, deal with mental illnesses.
20%.
20%. And I get calls all the time, as someone who's a therapist in field psychology, and also being a da'i, going around different masajid and going around different college campuses. I can't tell you how many times after khutbah, after a talk, after a lecture in a conference, or at a school, always in Brother Muhammad, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. We have high school students, high school sister who is depressed and cutting herself. We have college young brother who is addicted. We have 30-year-old mother who has a lot of anxiety and can't get out the house. A 50-year-old father who has anger problem and breaks things in the house, or a 70-year-old who came from Bangladesh, a grandmother, and she is in so much pain because she's feel like she's not treating well by her daughter-in-law, and she always thinks of dying. So these are people are emotionally not well, and I think we need to address this topic, not only how the Quran and the Sunnah deal with it, also from the medical perspective. What does the science have to offer as far as how do we stay emotionally healthy. So I think this is a very important topic, and I think it's something that we need to be able to address so that we can do better as a community.
So, how you are going to we are going to handle, how should we handle all this?
Sure. So firstly, I think we need to begin to address this topic, because in the Muslim community, in the Bangladeshi community, we just don't talk about this, but people are suffering. So I like to say there are 4 misconceptions that we have when it comes to mental illnesses, psychological illnesses. Number 1, we think that mental illness means you're pagal, majnoon, you're crazy. That's the first thing we think, and that's so I'll get to that in a second. So the first problem is that we think that if it's mental illness. Matter of fact, as I'm talking about this, I'm sure some people, some folks who are watching, they're probably like, oh, he's probably talking about crazy people. That's just one part. Some folks, they see things, they hear things, and they need to be in hospital. That's one part. But there are other folks who totally have regular lives. Go to work, they go to school, they're married, have families, and they're dealing with these issues. So firstly, we want to acknowledge that mental illness is real. This issue is real. It's not some made-up stuff. So I think we need to firstly acknowledge it. So that's the first myth we have, that it's not an illness. And you find in Islamic history, in the 8th century in Baghdad, we had hospitals and doctors who were specializing in treating people with their psychological and emotional issues. We Muslims were one of the first to pioneer this, because we knew that just like you get sick, that you get diabetes, you get cancer, you get blood pressure, you get heart problems, just like that you have anxiety, depression, and so forth. It's just like that. You get sick, physically, and you get sick emotionally. and it's okay to get sick and okay to get help. So that's number one. So, number two, we think that maybe it's a jinn problem, or it is hasad, or is ayn, jinn or magic, or somebody being jealous. If you speak to scholars, they'll tell you that 90% of these cases, when people are they're feeling depressed, or something is going on in their marriage, or this, 90% is not jinn. We blame everything on jinn. Yes, some part is jinn, and that's what makes me different. And me as someone in the mental health field, as a professional, I'm different from my non-Muslim colleagues and doctors, in that I know deep inside, I know part of me that some things are jinn. My colleague who's a non-Muslim doctor, he's not going to agree with that. But that doesn't mean that I blame everything on jinn. 90% is not jinn issue. 90% is actually psychological issue. But we like blaming jinn and blaming magic. Reason why I'm feeling so down, or my son, he's having addiction because somebody did nazar, from back home. So let's send some dua to the hujud, back home. That will fix it. No, your son is addicted because he's addicted. You gotta seek treatment. You gotta get help. And so I think mental illness is caused by purely your genetics. Some people by genetics, Allah gave you this challenge. Some people due to trauma. There are people in our community who have faced abuse. And when you go through abuse, it affects you. Just like if you go in the cold and you don't have any clothes on, you catch a cold, right? Because your body is shivering, temperature goes down, immune system is low, and then you get attacked with the virus or bacteria. Just like that, when someone goes through very traumatic divorce in the house, someone loses someone loved one, they go into an accident, they're beaten up by somebody, that gets you emotional illness. Just like you get physically ill, you get emotionally ill. So, so number two is, I think, very important to know, is that it's not jinn issue. Number three, I think for us to know that if you have emotional illness, it doesn't mean you have iman problem. I think that's third thing we have a problem about. We think, make some more dua, or read some more Quran. Allah will solve all your problems. That's true. Allah will solve your problem, but He also wants you to take the step. One Sahabi came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, should we seek medical treatment for our illness? He says, yes, because Allah made the disease and He also made the cure.
We'll take a break.
Sure.
We'll come back soon. Dear viewers, you are watching Vision for Success. Stay with us.